Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 210. When we last left our heroes, we saw everyone sort of in the aftermath of Crow's death and Kyora's seeming death. Again, I'm a little suspicious that Kyora's is going to go out that fast. But the Union Army and the Eden Zero are in a bit of an alliance to go after God Noella. And while the Eden Zero is doing some quick repairs for rejoining the fight, Homer arrives with the mothers. And we learn that St. Fire Nox's A, real name is Rachel, B, that she's Connor's wife, meaning C, Connor is Rebecca's father. And I looked back at the bit where he sort of talks about his wife and daughter, like, running away, or his wife taking his daughter and leaving. And I'm still curious to see how exactly that is going to filter into what we know of Rebecca, like, growing up on the streets. But that's sort of where we put a pin on that. To check in on Rebecca, she's still sort of feeling a little uncomfortable about Planet Eater. These nerves aren't going away. It's a big thing she's doing. And it's not the sort of thing that you could expect to be handled calmly. And then we cut back to Pino and Shiki and Ziggy, where Pino reveals that while Ziggy was spying on her, the other Shiki's grandpa was leaving a little trail for Pino to give her an algorithm she could set her EMP wave to turn off the dark personality, allowing the old grandpa Ziggy to return. I'm a little unclear which we should call the first or the second Ziggy, because that backstory is not quite known yet. But it works. And Grandpa tells Shiki to kill him before Ziggy can reawaken. And that's where we left off. Let's dive right on into chapter 210, The True Enemy. And our picture here is Hermit, just smiling brightly, giving us like a peace sign. It's a real cute bit. We pick up right where we left off, with Shiki still on the ground, and Ziggy is telling Shiki to kill him. As I'm still gonna keep calling him Ziggy, because I don't really have a better term for him right now. Ziggy is asleep for now. This is our only chance. Kill me. And Shiki recognizes him. Grandpa? And Ziggy tells him, I know you must have loads of questions, but I don't have time to answer them all. Ziggy will wake up soon. Before he does, you have to... and Shiki stops him. Grandpa, is that really you? And Pino, who appears to be powering off her overdrive for him. Yes, I blocked the other Master Ziggy that was controlling him. I believe that this is most likely the personality of the Master Ziggy you once knew. And Shiki is still just stunned, and hopefully wants some answers given how little the other Ziggy gave him. Personality? What are you talking about? Oh, I know what I can do. I can call them Ziggy and Yami Ziggy. I had the other Ziggy, and that term put me in like a Yu-Gi-Oh brain real fast. I think Yami Ziggy is the way to go here. Personality? What are you talking about? You just told me you came from the future to save the human race. So how did you turn into that guy? And Ziggy tells him, well, it isn't exactly another personality. I had been taken over. Which, interestingly enough, there sort of has been evidence for that. If you go back to what Elsie saw when during the Eden's 1 arc, seeing the dark ether flowing into Ziggy before his reawakening, that does tie back to that particular bit of backstory. But we'll see what Ziggy's getting at there. I have none of my past memories, including from when I was Shiki. I don't even remember coming from 20,000 years in the future. Okay, but Yami Ziggy does. It's just this Ziggy who doesn't. 20,000 years from now, I set out in the Eden Zero and left the planet Eden, on quest to find Universe Zero. But then, the unthinkable happened. And we see what looks like a chronophage swallowing up the Eden Zero. Theory time. Okay, so we know the whole point of Planet Eater is that chronophages are like drawn to Rebecca using her powers. And then this line here that Ziggy has, the next one I haven't gotten to yet, an anomaly in the Etherion. If I keep going, we know the Etherion is Rebecca, or Rebecca's ether, or something to that effect. And this looks like a chronophage, but Ziggy does not call it a chronophage. He calls it an anomaly in the Etherion. What if it's not just that chronophages are drawn to Rebecca's time ether. What if all chronophages are tied up with Rebecca? What if this is the birth of all chronophages? I don't know. Let's keep going. If I keep going, but I can't give up the mission. And we see that Eden Zero is like pushing through the like tentacles of this chronophage. And Pino notes, a chronophage? Right before I made the jump through time, I came into contact with a chronophage, and I didn't learn this until later, but I never made it to Universe 0. I ended up on a planet in Universe 1. I've lost all of my memories except for my name. Though not entirely, because he remembers this, at the very least. I was on an unfamiliar planet, and I didn't even know who I was. A mysterious ship was falling apart right in front of me. And it's the Eden Zero. He's somehow out of the Eden Zero. Or something. The explosion sounded oddly familiar, like the ringing of a large bell. I named the planet Granbell after that sound. I repaired the ship and I built robots. Okay. So it clearly wasn't so destroyed that he couldn't, like, fix the Eden Zero, because he did fix the Eden Zero. Of course, I couldn't find any data about myself or my mission anywhere in the ship's memory. I guess maybe the chronophage got to it? Before too long, I had a town on my planet, and eventually it turned into a theme park. One day, a guest mentioned Mother, so I set out into space on the rebuilt Eden Zero, on a quest to retrieve my memories. Okay. So, the tying of Mother and his memories, like, of course, we know in the future that his memories are tied up with Mother, because Mother is the goal. Save humanity to save Mother. But I guess it was somewhere, like, subconscious in his brain, that connection, that Mother and his original goal, and that's what caused him to set out? I guess. I don't know. But Shiki tells him, but you found me before you got there. And Ziggy's silent. Where did you find me? And once again, Ziggy doesn't say. I can't tell you that. Why not? What planet do I come from? And Ziggy just tells him, I can't tell you. And he turns to Pino. Do you know anything, Pino? I do not have that data. And Ziggy goes on, you will know when the time comes. But that is one thing I cannot tell you now. And Shiki focuses back in on him, not exactly pleased with this, but listening to the rest of the story. You know the rest of the story. I died and that should have been the end of it. But my body was taken over, and I came back to life. My memories were my life as Shiki, the claim that I came from 20,000 years in the future. Those were things that were told to me. I haven't actually remembered them. Those memories are completely gone. Okay. That's an interesting bit. It's not that he remembers anything. I mentioned earlier maybe he remembers the moment before the crash, which is how he can tell it. But no. It's like, he heard those secondhand, and now he's telling them again. Okay, so it's possible everything we've learned about Ziggy is a lie. I mean, we've seen his face, so it's likely he is a future Shiki, but there are things there that aren't necessarily true. The one thing I do remember is the time I spent with you on Granbell. Which, Ziggy, if you're trying to get Shiki to kill you, that's maybe not the thing you need to say. He's not going to want to kill his grandpa like this. But also, this whole thing brings to mind, there's the bit that Ziggy says to one of the Dark Stars about, the me from when he knew Shiki wasn't the real him, and now he's the real him. But now this Ziggy is saying is, like, being taken over. I don't know. And then Shiki comments, so I've been calling myself Grandpa this time? Going back to, like, the grandfather paradox at the heart of the relationship. But Ziggy stops him, no, I'm not you. Even if I did start out as you, this personality is my own. I still think of you as my grandson. And I love the Ziggy tremble here. He can't physically show emotion on that robotic face, but still, like, that love and emotion is shining through. It's a really sweet little bit. And Shiki acknowledges that. And Pino questions, who is it that took you over, Master Ziggy? The real enemy. The true evil that you must fight. Okay. That's our title, right? The real enemy? Oh, not that page, not that page. Yeah, the true enemy. Okay. I didn't see it. I actually took to the last page. I didn't see anything before I went back, but anyway. And it's here on Lendard as we speak. And we happen to flash over every single person who is still in play. Rebecca, Happy, Clown, Sister, Wise, Elsie, Justice, Acnoella, Homera, Hermit, Laguna, Jean, Moscoy, Clean, Connor, Nox, Couchpo, and Labilia, Feather, and Holy, and Eraser. Implying that one of them is that true enemy here on Lendard. I don't know. Acnoella would be. I'm judging like which of those do I think it might be. Moscow's. I was gunning for Moscow being the spy, and I kind of want to gun for Moscow being the true enemy again. I don't want it to be Couchpo because Couchpo's an angel. Acnoella would be an interesting choice, though I feel like given her route as, a playoff Acnologia, it would be kind of repetitive to have, the Dragon Acno be the big bad again. I don't know. Maybe all of these characters here are just like misdirection. There's someone else on Lendard we don't know yet. I don't know. And Shiki presses, who is it? Your real enemy's name is... And it's just garbled, which is very much it feels like a tease on Mashima's part there. Even if, given the fact that, Ziggy has been taken over by this person, it does make sense you wouldn't be able to reveal that. It is a bit of a tease. The real enemy's name is... It's not quite Ziggy getting retaken over by Yami Ziggy, but it still is very, very clearly a stalling tactic. I can't say it. And Pino questions a language control program, which was my thought earlier. But Ziggy tells her no. Have we used up too much time? Oh, Yami Ziggy is taking over again. I'll suppress my ether to its lowest level. Then you fire your black sky at me and destroy me. And Shiki, like I said, does not want to do that now that he's seen his grandpa again. What? Why would I do that, Grandpa? If there's a real enemy, then you don't have to... I'm too deeply connected. If you don't kill me now, I'll only be used as a pawn again. Besides, I've already died. Please. And he does cry. Over the metal... it's not the human... Whatever human appearing face that was we saw several chapters ago. It's the robotic face that cries. Put me out of my misery. Shiki. And Shiki can only just stare as we leave that scene there. I had a feeling with 5 pages left we weren't going to get to see that happen now. I imagine that, my closest comparison to Shiki having to kill his grandfather is the silver gray scene in Fairy Tail, which is one of my favorite scenes in all of Mashima's work. You're an enemy of the guild and so I have to stop you, but I can't kill my own dad, is just such a great scene. And I'm hoping to get something rivaling that. But meanwhile, back at the Eden Zero, in the medical room, Connor waits outside. In prayer, we see. Because, that is his long-lost wife in there. Did he know that Rachel was Saintfire Nox, or is this all news to him? But Herman's also standing there with him. And we see that she's been listening to the conversation. There's too much to take in. Ziggy was taken over by someone or something. And he can't tell us the secret of Shiki's birth. And Sister's also thinking, does it have something to do with the Shining Star's memories being erased? And when did he make Pino? And Hermit comes to a realization. No, wait. If what Ziggy says is true, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. It can't be. Is the true enemy? And we're about to go to a different scene, I'm willing to bet. But I'm not sure what that one thing still is. But there still are a lot of mysteries hanging around here. The secret of Shiki's birth is clearly a big thing if Ziggy can't reveal it. It's not some random planet. And yeah, there's the memories being erased. We still don't really know why. And when does Pino's birth fit in? But she says there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. Those are a number of things that don't really make sense. But Hermit thinks it can't be. Is the true enemy? And then we cut to Elsie? And are these her crew members? Are these Goen and Hyoga? And what's his name? Was it Jesse, maybe? Right? Was that his name? The spy. The guy who was Justice's plant. Yes, Jesse. All seemingly dead. The shackle's broken. And Elsie just in a rage. And that's where we leave off. Is Goen dead? Like, Hyoga... What we see of Hyoga... I think I always get Hyoga and Goen confused. Which is the ice guy. Yeah, Hyoga. Hyoga... I think that's Hyoga there. Might still be alive. The injury we get of him is like, blood on the face. He could come back from that. But then we have Goen... And I'm not quite sure... because of exactly where the panel cuts out. But there is very much the implication that he could have been decapitated. And this is Eden Zero. Mashima is not shy of killing people off in this series. But yeah, I don't even remember them being here, right? I'm gonna look through Hyoga's wiki page, like the appearances section. He last showed up in 194. I'm trying to remember what was going on in 194. The bit with the infiltration when Clown and Killer show up. That was like I don't know. I don't remember what else was going on in that chapter that would tie into their sudden appearance here. Because last time I remember the Ziggy Elsie plot, right? It's been a while, and I imagine next week we'll give a bit of a flashback to how we got here. Was Elsie was still bound by Justice, who was going out to fight Akinoella alone. She was like, "Let me help you," and then we don't see anything else from that. So I imagine this is going to be, a cliffhanger, right? Or we're going to get a flashback. Sorry, I was trying to thought there. It clearly is a cliffhanger. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Or mays, I suppose. I imagine we're going to get a flashback because I don't know what the fuck happened. But Elsie somehow got free. It looks like her shackles were shattered. Because, there's one... No, I thought the panel with Goen's head, I thought there was, those were chains. I think they're wires in the bottom left corner there. That was just Lendard being all mechanical. But we see what looks like Elsie's shackles, crumbled. Shattered. And then the gun... which with Jesse always brings back to Creed's death, given, what he did to Creed. I just don't know. But Elsie is also stunned, so I don't think she was here for this. Though that true enemy bit, the one thing that doesn't make sense, Elsie's story is in a way tied up with Ziggy. It might be possible that Elsie is the true enemy? It would be a hell of a twist. Both for Eden Zero itself and given... Well, actually, going back to it, because I think Mashima said once that one of the appeals or one of the things about Justice Elsie, as opposed to Urza Jalal, is the way their roles have swapped. I always figured it was more of an in the eyes of the law. Urza works for the legal guild, Jalal's a criminal. Even after his redemption, he still sort of works outside the law. And then in Eden Zero, Justice is the face of the law, is very a hardliner for the law, and Elsie is a pirate. But what if it's more than just, good and evil in the eyes of the law, but genuinely in their roles in the story? What if the point is what if Elsie is the true evil? What if Elsie is the real enemy? If she is the big bad in some way? We've been led to believe that I don't know, and maybe it started out as decent. Well, no, because Kjor said it was only a bit of bad reputation that allowed him to turn Elsie into a generally well-meaning young woman into into one of the Galactica. So that doesn't quite add up with this either. I don't know. Like, it might be possible that... What I was going to say is it might be possible that, we were told that Elsie had a reason for bringing down Lendard, that what Lendard was doing was terrible and that she had to stop it. But what if that was wrong? What if actually justice was right? There was no need to stop Lendard, she just wanted to destroy things. Or some other reason, I don't know. Also, now that Elsie's back in the narrative, it does, we haven't mentioned the name Lendard in a while. Until page 12 here, it's here on Lendard as we speak. And the fact that, let me go to the wiki, see when the last time Elsie was here. Because I don't find Eden Zero wiki to be terribly, filled out. But they're very good at, keeping track of when characters are appearing. And yeah, it's been a good 10 chapters since she showed up. So, for an arc that's all about her home planet, now that she's back, all of a sudden it's sort of weird that... It's hit me how weird it is that in this arc that should have really been all about her. For as much as it's the Shiki Ziggy arc, this is also her homeworld, and she has this big history with Ziggy. She's here for the first 5 chapters, and then she largely disappears from the narrative. She shows up a handful of times looking here, but not that much, which is interesting to me, given how much the build up to this arc sort of emphasized the fact that this is her homeworld, and her connection to Ziggy. I don't know. As much as I want Moscow to be the true enemy, as funny as that would be, I'm curious, this might just be a red herring. It feels like a red herring. But it might be. Elsie might be the real enemy. I don't know, I'm not really expecting it. I'm expecting this to be a trick. To be some bit of misdirection. Maybe not in Jessie, Goen, and Hyoga all being dead, but I don't think that look is one of pure rage on Elsie's part, or shell-shockedness. I don't think she's the true enemy either, unless... Another crazy theory here. I feel like I've been going on about crazy theories. At some point I have to go back to really discussing the first part of the chapter, beyond just theorizing here. What if... Because we know the true enemy can take people over. It's what he did to Ziggy. What if he's also doing that to Elsie? I mean, I sort of assumed that, Elsie was stronger than that. That Elsie was... Or not stronger than that, but, as she isn't a bot, she can't be, hacked or nothing. So, that was sort of my thought. So one critique would be that no, that can't really happen. But maybe it can. We don't know how ether works. It's sort of vague magic stuff. So, maybe Elsie has been taken over by the true enemy. And has killed her own crewmates. I don't know. We'll deal with that later. When I first saw that, I was like, I'm not going to focus too much on this because there's too little we know. And then I spent 5 or 10 minutes on it. So the rest of the chapter is all very informative. Though, as Hermit says, there's some things that just don't quite track. And at some point, we are going to, I hope, get those full answers that will allow us to sort of put all of this into a single narrative, into what exactly happened. Because at this point, we have a pretty good idea, up to a point. Up to Ziggy leaving Granbell, we know what happened. Ignoring the Ziggy of Ziggy's previous life, right? He compresses the antimatter bombs, blasts 20,000 years in the future, becomes a bot, becomes a member of bot society, is trusted to go back 20,000 years in the past to find Universe Zero, has an encounter with a chronophage, being an anomaly in the Etherion, which makes me feel like Rebecca and the chronophages are even more connected than we think, but we'll get to that at some point later, I imagine. Goes back to the past, crashes on Granbell, rebuilds the ship, all the data has somehow been lost, another mystery, and then builds the Granbell Park, sails out, and then we have no fucking clue. They travel for a while, and memories are erased, and Shiki is found, and he's with Nero at one point. But so we're getting small advancements in the Ziggy story. There's still a lot of questions as to who is possessing him, and what's going on with the memory erasure, and Shiki, and I feel like Elsie might be tied up in this story somehow. I don't know. But anyway, Ziggy might be dying soon, so hopefully we'll get that information somehow if Ziggy dies. I don't know. It's another one of those chapters that just leaves you with so much to think about. I'm going to be spending all the time until next week trying to work out what this means for the story going forward. And I can't wait until we just finally get answers. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!